Hello everyone, and welcome to CEO Diaries. I'm very excited to be back with you after a week or two off. I was actually traveling around Sri Lanka in a rickshaw, having the time of my life, which makes it the perfect time and day to be sharing today's topic of CEO Diaries, which is something very close to my heart. How do you buy back time while still building a scaled and profitable business? So that's what we're going to be talking about. I am, of course, your host. I'm Lauren Dallas. I'm CEO of Future Females. And as you know, we've been hosting the CEO Diary session every single week now across our channels. We should now be live on LinkedIn, I'm seeing, YouTube, and across our Facebook pages. So welcome. If you're tuned in with me now, please do say hi in the chat. Let me know where you're joining from. This session is intended to take you behind the gloss of what you see on social media when it comes to launching and scaling a profitable digital business like Future Females. This is a raw session where I'm going to be just sharing with you actually what's going on and how am I thinking through strategies, tactics, resourcing, key decisions, and even how are some of those decisions playing out behind the scenes of Future Females. So as always, please do let's make this as interactive as possible. If you have questions, ask me. If you have things to share as well from your own business experience, please do pop them into the chat. I'm seeing Rachel saying hi, Malika joining from Croatia, amazing, Buchle joining from Cape Town, Larissa also from South Africa. Very happy to have you for this session. If you are joining for the first time, before we get stuck in, I just want to let you know that there is a prize. Every week, I award a prize to someone who has tuned in, who is interacting. It's that simple. So if you ask questions, if you share your experiences, I'll also pop your question up and we'll have a discussion. Then you can win our Level Up Launch Library. This is our signature training on how to conduct a launch, from partnerships through to your planning, through to our launch Trello board that literally breaks down the step-by-step, through to how do you use channels like LinkedIn and like Instagram to promote your launch. So if you'd like to win that, I will announce the winner in this session in about 25 minutes. And literally all you have to do is comment and share. Okay, let's get into this exciting topic, which is how to buy back time in your business. Before I get into some of the strategies that I've been implementing, I want to set a little bit of context around this topic and why it's so important to me. So my career possibly looks like a lot of yours, right? I went through the years of corporate excited to get senior in front of my name and become a manager and really just embedding myself into the cage that corporate really is. And what always struck me was that no matter how hard I worked, I was always getting the same pay at the end of the month. And I was actually selling my most precious commodity, being my time, in exchange for those hours while building someone else's dream. Now, I know I'm recognizing quite a few of the names here, Shirley and Jayshree. You're already entrepreneurs. So perhaps what happened to you is what happened to me. Thank you. You got to that point where you said, I am tired of this. I want more time. I want more freedom. I want more flexibility. And even more importantly, I want to be building what's really important to me and my unique core purpose. So I, of course, quit and I started my first company, which was called Hello Sailor Consulting. It was a marketing agency where I sold growth marketing services, right? That's what I do. That's what I'm good at, helping businesses grow profitably online. And it started exciting that I got to the point that perhaps some of you have gotten to, where I realized I didn't actually have any more time to sell. And instead of one boss, I had all of my clients demanding time and work and output from me. And what I had done was actually just create another job for myself, but within this kind of guise of being my own business. I ended up closing that down because I burnt out and frankly, I didn't have any more hours to sell. But I spent a lot of time at that point evaluating. The music is on my side. Apologies. This is the place with the most connected Wi-Fi. In the spirit of buying back time, I'm actually touring around South Africa, showing my parents the sights. So apologies for the background music, but this is where I am, sitting in a winery in Robertson. So it was at that point that I really had to evaluate what was important to me. And I came across, it was actually a podcast, and the question that the podcast asked, I want to share with you because it changed my life, actually. The question was, would you rather be Warren Buffett? Would you rather have $100 million but be 90? Or would you rather be broke and 21? Please do share your answers, whichever channel you're on with me right now. They're all coming into the same. For me, the answer was obvious. I would rather be 21 and broke, right? I'd rather have all of that time and runway to build a business, to design my life, to re-earn that revenue, whatever it is I wanted to do. But what that implies for me is quite interesting. We work so hard for money, and often we are putting off the joy of life, the living of life for later, for once we've earned the money. But our answer to that question implies that actually money has a diminishing return as we get older. The less time we have, the less value money has, the less perceived value we have of money. So why are we always making these decisions day after day? Put more work in, try this thing, end my to-do list, enjoy myself later, put off that holiday. All of the things that I think, particularly as women, we often let ourselves and our pleasure be the first thing we let go in the service of creating more money for later. That question for me really hit home because I was doing it wrong. And even in businesses I've started since then, I could recognize these internal trade-offs I had been making as the business owner in honor of building this exciting, elaborate business. Potentially because, my ambition, like I know a lot of yours, is massive. I want it to be the biggest and the best it can be. But also, if I'm really honest, also because of fear. If I don't work this, if I don't execute this strategy, if I don't put this proposal in, will the business fail? Will I lose out? Will my team lose out? So I think it's interesting to consider what those drivers are. In any case, that's the roundabout story of why this topic is so important to me. I have realized that I'm motivated personally by impact, of course, but also by lifestyle. And a few years ago, I decided I'm not going to trade that off anymore. I'm not going to wait until I'm older. I'm not going to enjoy my life when I'm 40. I'm going to enjoy it now, today, and build it in, which obviously means looking at how I'm building business a little bit differently. And if you are aligned with me here, and maybe give me some feedback in the chat around your unique position. Do you feel like you have enough time? Are you looking to buy it back? Do you feel like you're building a business that can deliver lifestyle for you? Give me a little bit of input and I will reflect on it. What I've been doing really deliberately for the last, let's say 15 months is implementing 4 strategies that specifically look at giving me back my time, not only for pleasure, but also to allow myself to really step into the strategic requirement that being a CEO has, right? Working on the business rather than in the business. We've all heard that. So I'm going to go into the 4, and please do ask questions and hopefully they resonate for you. Okay. So the first thing is the business model, right? And Jayshree, love that you're saying that, building a business to suit your lifestyle and not the other way around. Absolutely. Not building a business and letting yourself live around the edges, but designing your lifestyle and then building the business that delivers on it, which is where the business model consideration comes in. A lot of you have been familiar with Future Females for a while. And if you have been, you'll know that we do a lot of things. Over the past 5 years, we have built many programs. We've launched 56 chapters. We have really invested in developing new products consistently and taking them to market because we know you need them, and hosting events and workshops and summits. What the problem with that is that we're always in build mode. And after you make a one-off sale or after you host a summit, you're essentially starting from a zero base again, right? And so you're building again, you're strategizing again. And so it's quite hard to get in front of the work and in front of your finances as well. So what we've done at Future Females is decide we're going to move to a recurring revenue model and an annuity revenue model. And as you know, that's where our Future Females platform comes in, right? It is a subscription membership that we're lucky enough to have had hundreds of women sign up to and be getting results from. And it's something like $29 per month to join. Is it as exciting, possibly, as launching a different product 2 or 3 times a year? Probably not. But does it give me back peace of mind? And does it allow me to properly build a team? Because I know what our financial forecasts are going to look like. Yes. So that was the first, probably big strategic change, looking at where is the most predictable revenue so that personally, I don't need to worry. And secondly, I don't have to feel like I'm fighting fires, whether it's operationally or in terms of the marketing, every single month. Just having a look at some of these comments here. Rachel, my corporate keeps me so busy. I don't know where I'm going to find time. Great. Well, then hopefully some of these next tips are going to help you a little bit, Rachel. Larissa, so much pressure to earn at least to maintain your lifestyle, financial responsibilities, whilst establishing myself as a leader and independent consultant. I mean, Larissa, I don't think we've engaged before, but something I also like to think through is, and in line with business model, what is it that you're selling? You know, as an independent consultant, what if you had 2 clients a month that paid you $5,000 each, rather than 100 clients paying you $200 each? And I have operated on both ends of that spectrum, but it's almost always easier to have kind of 2 key retainer clients that at least cover that base income that you need, and then experiment with these other price points just to kind of top you up or through a launch, but having that predictable base. So I think that's the first strategy. And what I would advise if you're feeling, like you need more time and maybe the business, you're not sure that your business financially can sustain you and your team for the next 3, 6, 12 months. Look at where your most, not necessarily your largest revenue stream is, but your most predictable revenue stream. And it refocus your attention and resources on building up that base. That's what we've been doing at Future Females. And I'm very glad that we have been. The second part of that, and the second strategy I want to talk to, is delegation. Cool. So let me know in the chat, if those of you who have a team, how many people do you have on your team? Are they volunteer? Are they full-time? Delegation is so interesting, right? For some people, it comes very naturally. For others, and often for the entrepreneur, it's a lot harder because you, I, and the creator. So this is literally your baby, whether we want to emotionally disconnect from that or not. It is. You've created it. And often, and to share one of my self-limiting beliefs in the early days, we think that we can do everything best because it's our business, right? You probably have heard this before or possibly thought this. What I have learned over the past 5 years of building Future Females is that a team is essential. In fact, my 4 previous businesses that failed, essentially, it was just me. This is the first business where I have deliberately backfilled the work that I do. So when I started, how did I do this? I literally audited my own time. So for those of you who are members of Future Females, you will see in your portal a time audit and productivity workbook. So if you want to do the exercise I'm talking about, you can access it through there. I audited my own time and I looked at what is high value, what is low value, what is specialist, and what is generalist. And essentially, this audit then helps you bucket it into what should stay with you as CEO, for example, strategy. What has to stay with you because it's a requirement. For example, no one else can do CEO Diaries, right? You're going to know if it's not me. So I need to keep that one. What can be outsourced? And this is typically a specialist task that you don't need always. For example, a search engine optimization specialist. You don't need that full-time in your business from day one, but it is such a black hole in terms of the marketing sphere that trying to learn it and master it is going to take way too much time than you should be investing. So that's something that you would look to outsource. And then the 4th bucket is delegate. What can be passed down? There's also a 5th bucket of stop doing completely, which I love that bucket. What can you pass down and delegate? Often what you'll find here is administration. So any sort of repeated tasks that you're doing that could be systemized, that someone else could easily pick up, like managing customer inquiries, right? Replying to your emails, posting your social media content, community management, a lot of those things that are labor intensive, you have to do them, but it could easily be trained to someone else. On the flip side, it could be a gap in your own skill set. For me, for example, I'm great at marketing and sales. I am rubbish at operations. I can make a kick-ass project plan, but actually managing people to execute the plan, massive gap. So that's also the start of looking at what I could delegate. I can just see a couple of people here saying, I regularly try to brainstorm with myself how I can create recurring income. I love what I do, but I need a sustainable income. Hoping to be almost there. Charlene, very excited to hear that you're almost there. And this is such an important strategic question for your business, particularly if you ever want to exit, right? Your business valuation is based on future earnings. So obviously they'll look at what you're currently earning, but if you do want to sell and package that up, you need to show predictable future earnings to get a good enough valuation. So that question on how to create recurring income, so important. I saw someone ask earlier what I read and listen to, lots of different things, but one I will recommend at this point is called, I'm going to screw it up right now, is Build for Exit, something like that. And it's a book that literally talks about strategy one. How do you build your business for exit in future? And specifically, it talks about recurring income options and strategies. Cool. So on strategy two, delegation, I think a lot of you have just been posting in saying it's just you running your business. So I want to reflect back to when it was just me and Serena, and we didn't have any finances to hire. So we were doing everything ourselves, but we didn't have enough time and we were exhausted. So we needed to find people to help. What we ended up doing was recruiting a team of volunteers. Everyone at Future Females was a volunteer on day one, actually for the first 6 months, including me and Serena. And what we did was just find people who, if you think about return on investment, right, who are willing to invest their time, but they don't necessarily need money as the return. And in fact, what we could offer was purpose and fulfillment. So we found volunteers who literally believed in the mission of economically uplifting women and supporting them to build businesses. And the fact that they were part of a bigger purpose, a movement that delivered on this, that was their return. So typically everyone had a job somewhere else that was filling their finance bucket, and then Future Females as a volunteer was filling that purpose bucket. So don't discount what you can offer. It doesn't have to be money. It could be purpose. It could also be upskilling. Maybe it's a student who really wants to get into copywriting and they have no work experience. We have two interns currently in our business. We typically do have between 1 and 3 who we upskill. We also do pay a stipend, but we upskill knowing they're not going to stay with us forever. But we're helping them on their career trajectory and they're helping us. You can hear me. Hello, I hope I'm back. Okay, great. Great. I can see people saying in the process of hiring volunteers too, nervous about the journey. Simone, one of the best things I could advise is treat your volunteers as if they are full-time employees. We didn't, when we first built our team, because I wasn't paying people I was actually a little bit nervous about asking them to do work and to take on more responsibility. But what I quickly learned is to treat volunteers like any other employee in your business, with a job description, with really clear KPIs, because even though there might not be a financial exchange, everyone wants to know that they're doing their job well. And particularly if it is contribution that's motivating them, they want to see how the work they're doing actually contributes to that bigger picture. So enjoy the journey. Actually, our first ever volunteer, well, no, our first two volunteers are still with the business. One of them now runs our programs across 6 countries. And our first ever intern is now our director of marketing 5 years later. So I would just say hire for passion and hire for values and mission alignment. And it's going to be such an exciting game changer for your business. Okay, great. I'm glad I'm back. Cool. What would be an incentive for somebody to want to become a volunteer? For us at Future Females, it was about delivering, it was about supporting a greater purpose. If I think about our ambassadors all around the world, they're not paid employees. They are literally women who want to invest their time, their spare time, in supporting other women, you know? So whatever your greater purpose is, so not your product or your service, but why you exist at that fundamental level, that is what's going to help you find your volunteers and your interns. Cool. Okay. So obviously that's the second, steadily building up your team and making sure the tasks that you are giving these people are really considered, things that you should no longer be doing, but also like briefed in a really clear way. Because often adding people doesn't necessarily take away time unless the job is structured and briefed. We brief to our internal team as if we're briefing to someone outsourced. So we give all of the context, timelines, resourcing, and everything so that people can operate as independently as possible, which I think is also quite important. Alrighty. I'm going to move on to strategy 3 that we've been doing, and that is evergreen marketing. This is one of my favorites. So firstly, what is evergreen? Evergreen is like the trees, right? It's always on, it never dies. So an evergreen marketing strategy is a strategy where you are planning for your marketing to always be running day after day, potentially for years to come. In contrast, you have campaign-based marketing, right? Where you're going, oh, cool, it's Black Friday, let's prepare a campaign. Even social media content is not necessarily evergreen because you have to keep creating it, right? So a frustration that I have, that maybe you have, is the shelf life of content. I'll use Instagram as an example. You've probably realized you work hard to create a reel, create a banner, whatever it is. You post it on your Instagram profile and you get good results for the first kind of half day, possibly 2 days if it's a reel, but then it almost drops off a cliff and you need more content to reach the same people again and to have any, inclination of growing your following. I find that very frustrating and it's very labor intensive. So what can you do instead? We now have an evergreen marketing strategy. And what that looks like is having a few pieces of things. If I focus on Instagram, we've looked at which are our best organic pieces of content that have gotten us the most followers. So literally go into your account, look at all of your content over the last 30 to 90 days and look at follower growth. Whichever pieces, pick your top 3 to 5, have driven the most followers for you are the things that you're going to boost. When you boost content for engagement, so if it's a video, you're saying to Instagram, get me more video views. If it is a banner, you're saying, get me more likes. When you boost that, it's relatively cheap to reach new people. You can spend like $5 and reach 100,000 people, right? How long would that take you to do without boosting, with only organic content creation? So we pick our top 3 to 5 and run a low cost boost. Could be $5 a day. You could even run less than that, just to keep the follower growth ticking over in the background without having this constant need, the hamster wheel, I call it, to keep creating more stuff. So we took down the frequency of our organic posting and instead have invested that $5 a day behind the scenes. That is an example of evergreen marketing, right? Looking at what's taking all of your time and instead saying, would it be worth if it could save me an hour a day to spend $5? So that's one of the key questions we've been asking. The second thing coupled with that is you've probably noticed that your organic reach on social media has declined anyway. So actually, evergreen marketing and that paid strategy is really important if you do want to grow your audience. In fact, most influencers now, if not all, are running an ad strategy behind the scenes. We just can't see it. So that's the third way that I'm looking at buying back time when it comes to evergreen marketing. I'm thinking of another one I want to share with you. I'll share one more when it comes to evergreen marketing. So hopefully a lot of you are doing email marketing. It is definitely not dead. It is the most profitable channel because it keeps you top of mind. So unless you have a business that is a painkiller, what I mean by that is someone has a headache and they need painkillers right now. So they're just going to buy. Very few people have a painkiller product or service. Most of us have a vitamin. A vitamin means we have a good product or service that can improve people's lives in some way or other, but it's not a must-have right now. For example, education, right? Even if someone's business is not doing well and they know that they need to upskill to close that gap, there's not a point in time where they're like, now is the exact time. Could be a week, could be a month. Sometimes we have people in Future Females. We've had some first purchasers who joined our community 5 years ago when we started. So that journey can be longer. This is typical for most service-based companies and most product-based as well, unless you're like a necessity product. So obviously put this into your context, but if you are not a must-have, then you must have email marketing. Because like we've just been talking about, social media is getting harder and harder to reach people unless you pay. But email, you own that audience. You decide when do you send an email and everyone gets it. Even if they don't open it, they see your name, you see Lauren Dallas, you see Future Females at the top of your inbox, and you see a subject line so you know what's going on. So even if you don't open it, when you think next week, next month about upskilling yourself for your business, you're going to hopefully think Future Females. So that's where email marketing can come in. What a lot of people do when it comes to email marketing is say, okay, cool, I'm going to start newsletters every Monday, every Friday, and I'll just put my product in there. That can work. We do have a newsletter every Friday that we send, but newsletters don't typically convert to sales. Newsletters are much more for engagement. What works when it converts to sale and where the concept of buying back your time comes in is a personalized email sequence. For example, I was mentioning the time audit workbook earlier. This is something we sometimes give away free in a campaign. As soon as someone downloads that, we don't just send them one email saying, here's your ebook, come back when you want to buy. We have a sequence of 7 emails. Actually, I have an Instagram post on my channel that breaks down what's in each of those 7 emails that guides them through value proposition, building credibility, introducing myself, sharing success stories, and then ultimately positioning our platform and membership as a sale. That is completely automated. And also it has to be, right? Because someone might download it today, someone might download it next week. So we wrote this once a year ago, and now our email system, ConvertKit, is sending it on our behalf as everyone signs up. So it's once and done. We just obviously look at the statistics, but we don't have to keep rebuilding and rewriting and resending different emails. So that's the second thing when it comes to evergreen marketing that we've implemented that has worked really nicely. Let me know if you have any questions on evergreen marketing. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to strategy number 4 for buying back time, which I've already alluded to, and this is automations and systems. We have an ethos at Future Females, which is never do a robot's work. And what we mean by that is, if there is a tool that exists that can do this work for us, let's use it instead of doing the work ourselves. So I'm going to share two tools. Malika, let me answer yours first. What we use for email automation is ConvertKit. ConvertKit is very user-friendly. If you are a member of our platform, that is the tool that we train you through when it comes to your email marketing and strategy. For our social media scheduling, we use either Iconosquare or Later. Later is more affordable, later.com. And then my new love, and I would love to know who is using it, is ChatGPT. Let me know in the comments if you are using ChatGPT actively in your business. This is probably the biggest time saver that I have found in the last year for everything in business. We are using ChatGPT for copywriting, for research, for speaker identification and outreach, to define our launch strategies, to create our ebooks, even to start outlining curriculums for future. It is unbelievable. We are even using ChatGPT to write briefs that we then pass over to our team and to designers. We're also using it for internal process mapping. So if there is a repeatable process that you want to delegate, we're asking ChatGPT to document that for us instead of having to do it ourselves. I think ChatGPT can be an entirely separate CEO Diaries by itself, but it really is unbelievable in terms of time saving. So Simone, let me pop this one up. I'd love to use ChatGPT. How do you decide which tools to invest in? So ChatGPT you can play with free at the moment. So if you haven't, please jump into it before it becomes fully paid. It is an absolute lifesaver. We are, at the end of this month, going to launch a ChatGPT course. It's going to be free for all of our members. So if you are a member of Future Females, get excited for that to come over to you in 3 weeks. It goes through how to use ChatGPT for marketing, sales, operations, and then for productivity and lifestyle as well. In terms of investing in other tools, the number one tool I would suggest investing in upfront for your business is your email marketing. The most annoying thing to have to do later is to migrate your database from one email tool to another. You'll lose where everyone is in your sales flows. You can lose your tags. It is very frustrating. Trust me, we've done this 4 times. If you can, invest in the right email marketing tool first up. Rather only have an email marketing tool and do your social media manually and invest in that later. But something like ConvertKit, we've now been with for years, is quite affordable. It starts from zero and grows as your list grows. That, I would say, is the most important investment. The second tool that I would really suggest investing in is your accounting software as well, because again, you have to have it. And so eventually you're going to have to do all of the work catching up the months for reporting purposes, for audit if you have to audit, and for your tax, right? So rather start with the right system now so you don't have to try and backtrack your historicals. So we use Xero, Xero, for our accounting. It's a godsend. Okay, so they were the 4 things that I wanted to share with you in terms of buying back time as an entrepreneur and as a founder, whether that is then investing it in your strategy or in your family or in just literally enjoying life. So we spoke a little bit about the business model and particularly looking at recurring income streams. Secondly, delegating, whether that is to volunteers or actually building up a team or outsourcing. We spoke about evergreen marketing, right? Looking at ads as opposed to organic socials, looking at email flows and automated emails as opposed to newsletters, and then automations and systems. Are there any questions? I think I've answered quite a few as we've gone through, but pop them into the chat now if you do have any questions. I'd love to hear from you, or any ideas. If you are using a system that is changing your life in your business, I'd love to hear about it and share it with the community. Jay Shree, still working on the prompts. that yields the greatest results. So Jayshree, I don't know if you've tried this, but you can actually ask ChatGPT to write its own prompts. So I also do this. There's also a plugin, I'm going to forget what it is, but Google Chrome extension ChatGPT prompts, and it gives you the best prompts. And they are voted on by people that use ChatGPT. So the best prompt per type of result is right up the top for you. It's unbelievable. Okay, amazing. Let me just have a look. All right. Well, guys, while you are putting any final questions in, I think that I will award our prize. So I can't believe it's been nearly 40 minutes of CEO Diaries as well. Clearly, this topic is one we need to spend quite a lot more time on. So the prize is access to our program called the Level Up Launch Library, which if you are looking at either launching your new business or hosting a launch of your products and services within your current business, this is going to give you everything you need. From launching on Instagram, LinkedIn, our Trello board, which is through accelerating your launch with partners. It's all in there. And so I'm going to pick our winner in just 1 second. Let me answer this. If I may, I recently started seeing a coach. The best advice so far is to structure my time. Even though I'm still struggling, I find I'm getting a lot more done per day. I love that you've brought this up. Another tip that I have, it's also in our time audit and productivity workbook I mentioned in our membership, is mapping your own unique energy. So time blocking, but also deciding what block you're going to use for what type of work. What I like to challenge is we've left a 9 to 5 for a reason. So why are a lot of us still working 9 to 5 or 8 to 8? If you look at your natural energy ebbs and flows, what makes more sense for you? For example, I love working from 6 till 8 a.m. in the morning, sometimes earlier, normally 6. I love it. I can get my creative work done, and it's typically when I do my proposals. By 8, I'm going to go for a run, and by the time I get back, I've got my team, I've got all of these different people asking me things, so that's when I get through admin. Then I have a bit of a lull over lunch, and then I can do more creative work again in the evenings. That's just me, but I've understood that, and I've mapped it, and now I block creative work, admin work, creative work, analytical work in that way. So love that strategy, and then aligning it to your unique energy style as well, maybe just to take it a step further. Amazing. Okay, let me award our prize on that note. And I actually can't see, I'm pretty sure I know your name, but I'm not sure I'm getting it right. But I'm going to award our Level Up Launch Library to this account. And I don't know if it's coincidence that your icon is baubles with Lauren and Lauren on, but I'm very excited to see that. So congratulations. Please DM us your email address so I can send over access to Level Up Launch Library to you. Well, my team will. And obviously reach out if you have any questions as you go through it. And thank you for interacting with me and for contributing. I absolutely loved it. Before I wrap up, I want to just quickly remind you of a session that I'm hosting this evening. For those of you who are available, it's at 6 p.m. South Africa time, so GMT +2. I'm going to be doing a live training and interview with Babawa Mkasiso. Probably just got that wrong. She is our creator of our Build a Powerful Personal Brand course. She grew her Instagram from 0 to 250,000 followers in just a couple of years. She quit her job and was able to go full time as a content creator, which is a leap that a lot of people struggle with. So if you are free and would like to join us, that is, you can register through the link in my or our Future Females Instagram, and it will be live at 6 p.m. tonight. So I hope a couple of you can join us then. And until then, have a beautiful afternoon. And thank you so much for joining CEO Diaries. I will see you same time and same place next week. Thanks. Bye.